Feminist Film Theory and the Politics of the Gaze. Feminist film theory is a transformative framework that interrogates the representation of gender in cinema, particularly how women have been constructed, objectified, or marginalized within patriarchal visual culture. This module explores the intersection of feminism, psychoanalysis, visual theory, and narrative analysis to uncover how power operates through the cinematic lens. We examine how mainstream cinema, especially Hollywood, positions the audience to adopt a male gaze, thereby rendering women as passive objects of male desire rather than active subjects with agency. This theory, introduced by Laura Mulvey, sparked a global reexamination of gender dynamics on screen. This module also extends into intersectional feminist film theory, highlighting the experiences and representations of women of color, queer women, trans women, and non-binary characters. We will study not just how women are seen, but how women see, direct, and reconstruct their own visual and narrative authority through female authorship, counter-cinema, and alternative aesthetics. Learning objectives. By the end of this module, you will be able to define key concepts in feminist film theory, including the male gaze, objectification, scopophilia, and narrative agency. Critically analyze how traditional cinema perpetuates gendered ideologies and power structures. Identify cinematic techniques that marginalize, eroticize, or erase women and queer identities. Explore the contributions of feminist filmmakers and theorists in deconstructing patriarchal visual culture. Evaluate how intersectionality and diverse feminist perspectives reshape storytelling, aesthetics, and spectatorship. Section 1. The Foundations of Feminist Film Theory. Feminist film theory emerged in the 1970s as part of the broader feminist cultural movement. It questioned, why are women underrepresented in key creative roles in filmmaking? Why are women so often portrayed through limited, stereotypical roles? How does the camera reflect and reinforce male perspectives and fantasies? Laura Mulvey's landmark essay, Visual Pleasure and Narrative Cinema, 1975, introduced psychoanalytic theory into film criticism. She argued that classical Hollywood cinema is structured by a male gaze. Women are objectified, fragmented, and eroticized for male pleasure. Men drive the narrative while women function as spectacles. This critique laid the foundation for a generation of feminist theorists and filmmakers who sought to resist and reconstruct cinematic representation. Section 2. The male gaze, scopophilia, and objectification. The male gaze is a dominant mode of spectatorship in which the camera, and by extension, the viewer, adopts a heterosexual male perspective. This gaze manifests through camera angles that linger on female bodies, especially the chest, legs, and lips. Plot structures where women exist solely to motivate the male protagonist. Editing and framing that position the female as passive and silent. Scopophilia, a Freudian term meaning the pleasure of looking, is central to this theory. In cinema, scopophilia is often gendered. Men look, women are looked at. Men act, women appear. Examples: Transformers, 2007. Slow-motion shots of Megan Fox's body. Vertigo, 1958. The male protagonist recreates a woman in his desired image. James Bond films. Women as seductive ornaments to male heroism. Section 3. Narrative structures and the erasure of female subjectivity. Traditional narrative cinema follows a structure in which the male protagonist embarks on a journey, confronts obstacles, and evolves. The female character is static, symbolic, or sacrificial, often serving as the reward or obstacle. Women are frequently placed in these roles: the damsel in distress, the femme fatale, the virgin or the whore, the supportive wife or mother. These tropes deny female characters full dimensionality, agency, or complexity. Feminist film critics aim to expose and subvert these narrative mechanics. Section 4. Counter-cinema and the female gaze. Counter-cinema is an approach that seeks to disrupt traditional cinematic conventions. It includes non-linear narratives, subjective camera work, female voiceover narration, disruptions of the fourth wall, open-ended or fragmented plot structures. The female gaze, in contrast to the male gaze, seeks to represent women as full human beings with autonomy and agency, depict female pleasure and desire without objectification, use the camera to empower rather than violate or fetishize. Examples: Portrait of a Lady on Fire, 2019. Mutual gaze and lesbian desire portrayed with care and reciprocity. The Piano, 1993. A woman's voice, silence, and sensuality redefined through her perspective. The Hurt Locker, 2008. Directed by Catherine Bigelow, subverting gender expectations in war films. Section 5. Intersectional feminism in film intersectionality, introduced by Kimberlé Crenshaw, is crucial to modern feminist film analysis. It recognizes that women are not a monolith and that race, class, sexuality, disability, and colonial history affect how women are represented and experienced in the media. Feminist film theory must account for women of color, queer women, trans women, and others who have historically been invisible in both mainstream and feminist discourses. Key issues in intersectional feminist film criticism: stereotypes of Black women as hypersexual or angry Latina characters, as fiery and submissive Asian women, as submissive or exotic Indigenous women, as mystical or tragic. The near-total erasure of trans women and non-binary characters. Important films and filmmakers. Pariah, 2011, by Dee Reese. Black Lesbian Identity and Coming of Age. Lingua Franca, 2019, by Isabel Sandoval. Trans-Filipina Immigrant Navigating Love and Precarity. Mosquita y Mari, 2012, by Aurora Guerrero. Latina, Queer Friendship and Identity. Section 6. Feminist Aesthetics and Cinematic Language. Feminist filmmakers often experiment with cinematic form to resist patriarchal conventions. Their stylistic tools include long takes focused on women's interiority rather than appearance, symbolic visual motifs like mirrors, doors, and thresholds, slow pacing that disrupts narrative urgency and allows contemplation, collaborative and community-centered storytelling. The politics of authorship also matter. Who is behind the camera affects what we see. Chantal Akerman, Jean Dielman, Minimalist Feminism and Daily Labor. Agnes Varda, Cleo from 5 to 7, Woman's Self-Discovery Over Time. Julie Dash, Daughters of the Dust, Spiritual Matriarchal History and Black Womanhood. Section 7. Activism, Distribution, and the Future of Feminist Cinema. Feminist cinema is also a site of activism, not just artistic critique. Campaigns for inclusion in Hollywood, #MeToo, Time's Up. Advocacy for equal pay, safe sets, and equitable opportunities. Creation of female-led film festivals and platforms. Today, feminist filmmakers are building global networks, e.g., Women Make Movies, Brown Girls Doc Mafia, crowdfunding and independently producing films, pushing back against streaming algorithms and studio bias. Digital media, social movements, and education are all contributing to a future where the politics of gaze, power, and gender are continuously challenged and redefined. Key takeaways. Feminist film theory critiques how cinema reflects, constructs, and perpetuates patriarchal power and gender inequality. The male gaze positions women as objects for visual pleasure rather than subjects with agency. Counter-cinema and the female gaze offer ways to resist and redefine how women are portrayed on screen. Intersectional feminism expands the lens to include the diverse experiences of marginalized women and queer communities. Feminist cinema is both an art form and a tool for social transformation.